It Chapter 2, directed by the man himself, Andy Muschietti, is the sequel to the 2017 horror hit that came out already 2 years ago. Oh my god. Holy shit, it's already been 2 years. Wow. It's crazy. And it's finally the conclusion to this whole ginormous 1,000-page book franchise, or I guess just series, of the iconic Stephen King story of these kids dealing with the number one fear that's been haunting them for their entire lives, Pennywise the Dancing Clown, or just straight up it. That's really what they call it, but he likes to be Pennywise. It makes sense if you read the fucking book or see the first one, like I assume you all did. But now they're all grown up, 27 years later, and times have come back to where they started. The clown began terrorizing the town again, and they all must return to face their fears one last time and get this shit done. I just saw it 2 nights ago with my good pals up here around Los Angeles, and here's what I thought about the movie. It was probably one of my, I'm not sure if I put it in my top 10 favorite movies of that year, because there's a lot of incredible stuff in 2017. That was a great year that I had watching movies. But it was definitely one of, at least if I had to say my top 20, because I saw a lot that fucking year. I had a great time with it. It was definitely one of the biggest surprises. I genuinely did not think they could pull it off. And then, now, 2 years later, the sequel comes out, and I'm still just as nervous because I respect horror now so much, and I've learned so much more from that 2 years ago. I still was nervous to see if they could possibly pull off the sequel. Because even back in the 1990s, when they did the original, made-for-TV film for It, with the Tim Curry Pennywise, even at that point, the kids were not necessarily terrible either. The film was fine for, the first, half of it with the kids, and then it really started to fall all proportions of hell when the adult stuff came up, and they didn't know how to handle it. So it still could have happened, and I was very nervous, but I saw it 2 nights ago, and guys, honestly, I've really thought about it. I've heard a lot of other criticism. I've seen all the analyzation that we can get so far with reviews coming out to even see. I always like to see other points that I can get, because sometimes I get too hyped for a movie, like happened. My biggest examples when I saw Justice League, and there's just some things I didn't pay attention, that it made me realize and open my eyes of, oh, okay, I see why people really didn't like this movie. But genuinely, I loved this movie. This was great. It's not to say that it's this huge controversial thing that people are calling it the worst thing of all time, but some people are calling it very disappointing, a failure, things don't work at all, and I don't see it. I thought it was fantastic. Now, do I think it's better than the first one? No. I do not think it's better than the first one. The first one, for me, was very close, near perfection of how it handled the characters with these kids. These very lovable and really relatable kids. As funny as I was just complaining about that earlier, but it didn't feel fake. It felt genuine. The way they cursed, the way they talked. And even a lot of them, since them being middle school kids, had this is the word tweeny? I think I'm even forgetting the words. Tweeny awkwardness, where they didn't really know how to talk to other people aside from their group. And they freaked out whenever there was a girl that paid attention. It felt genuine, it felt sweet, and the cast was incredible. Finn Wolfhard is a god in acting. I wish Winnick ever had any level of talent he has. The fact that he's doing all this at this age, and obviously Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise just stole the fucking show. It's just, the whole thing was near perfect. There's just some sequences that for me don't work. This one does have problems, admittedly, that I do see that people talk about. But first, I want to talk about the great stuff, because it's my favorite stuff I'll have to talk about first. The cast, still excellent. I'm honestly shocked that the adults were near perfection. It's insane that there's even people still talking about, even no matter what they can say about the movie, they all have to agree. The cast is probably the most surprising thing. The adults are just as incredible as the kids, sometimes even better. I honestly would say that I kind of had a little more fun sometimes hearing Richie be an adult and him be the successful comedian, which is awesome to see. To see the future of these kids and how they grew up and how they get into the careers. And obviously, before I forget, Pennywise. I don't think it should be mentioned, but Bill Skarsgård, you're perfect. He did it. He killed it again. I was genuinely terrified the whole time. Admittedly, though, now we're going to start going into the problems, and those 2 core things, and there's a lot more that I can talk about in a sec, they're really what saved the whole movie, but there are some issues that do drag with it. One of the biggest things that I have is that the whole fun first that I had, this isn't that bad because most of it is still handled well, but I think the most fun that I had with the first It, why I think Pennywise works so well, is that a lot of it was seen in these kids' imagination, or what could seem like their imagination, how he messed with them psychologically, and especially in the night or in very dark, claustrophobic, all by yourself places. And that's what made you believe something as horrific as this can come attack you, because no one can help you. You're on your own, and it just makes it more tense. There's a lot of scenes where now Pennywise is just straight up in public, where there's hundreds and thousands of people walking around. And for some sequences work perfectly, because what they did geniusly in the first one, that I always loved the sequence of the library scene, for example, is I was watching again how, like, the old ladies, if you pay attention, they're all being possessed by Pennywise. And while Ben is supposed to be reading the book of the history of Derry, they all are looking at him like, oh, we're doing this creepy smile, ready to attack him or something. It's insane. Like, if I pay, every time I see that scene again, it's like, oh my god, like, this whole jump scare and attack sequence is being set up from the beginning in the background. And they do that for some of these moments again, and it makes it incredible. That does make it freaky. However, they do repeatedly start doing it again, and unfortunately just doesn't work anymore. There is one ridiculous sequence, for example, that I won't spoil, where this giant thing starts attacking Richie, and though I understand what they're going for, and it does work for other times that it happened, at this point it just goes so ridiculous, and honestly, what I feel like it gets to cartoon levels, which I know it's in the book, but since this one we have to still have being a visual story kind of storytelling with the movie, it has to be more believable. I didn't buy it. Even in the theater. Like, now, I first thought it was funny and cool looking first in theater, but looking back, I'll admit, like, it was pretty silly. I didn't buy that. The biggest failure that this movie definitely has, though, is the middle act. A lot of the middle of the film, there's definitely a lot of it, because if you guys don't know, the movie's like 3 hours long. It's insane. This movie goes on forever. And you could really tell through the middle of the film. Remember how Endgame was 3 hours? And if anyone loved Endgame as much as I did, what I love so much about it is the 4 times that I saw it in theaters. Yes, I saw it 4 times. I watched them, and I never felt that it was 3 hours long. I genuinely felt like an hour passed. Like, that's how much I was so invested, so in love with it, that I actually, like a lot of people, were upset and wanted to continue watching and wish they added more. That's how good I thought Endgame was with that. It is one of the first times to see that it suffers for that 3 hour length, that it just seems like they're trying to overstuff a lot of things, or extend, or add a lot of unnecessary moments, and it happens especially through the middle of the film. There's a lot of unnecessary sequences, a lot of awkward moments at the end, very extended periods of time that for me just don't work. A lot of it does, admittedly. It's not all of the film, but most of the time, even one of my favorite things that I forgot to talk about were the transitions of the film. And he just lost his mind and just said, screw it, let's just do some of the trippiest and craziest transitions we can do in film history. And he kicked ass. My friend Bruno and I were watching it together on the big screen. We were like, we love to direct and do short films together now, and we were paying attention to a lot of that. Notice that we were freaking out whenever, like, he did a transition that we tested once. And we're like, oh my god, he just did that transition. We're like, we're nerding out, we're stupid. But, however, a lot of times it can work incredibly. A lot of times it doesn't land. A lot of moments it just seems very awkward, out of place. You can really tell. You don't buy it. It's like how I felt, like I said earlier, about the idea of how Pennywise comes down in the middle of the public in daylight. It's just some things that you don't buy. And unfortunately, through the middle of the film, a decent amount of it does hit. Not too much to bring the whole experience down, even to make the whole middle terrible. There's a lot of stuff that you still enjoy and keeps your attention going, but a lot of it you do notice if you notice a lot of the details and see the whole picture itself, that you're just like, this is starting to bug me a bit too much. And that's what I did feel. However, fortunately, the middle act is really the biggest part of this film where it suffers. The rest of the film is like almost a pure extravaganza, and especially the finale really got to me, man. Like, oh my god, my friends and I are still talking and calling each other, even at school, talking about it to this day now, after 2 nights, about possible theories or what happens, or reactions to such a finale that they really went for. Admittedly, a lot of it is practically from the book, so if you've read the book, you know what happens, so that's why I'm saying it's not really a spoiler anymore. But it still is incredible to see them pull it off so well on the big screen, and especially what is so exciting to me is that I know people have never read the books like I did, because I barely finished them, so that's why I know a lot of people, without a doubt, especially my school, probably never read them, and that's really exciting to see someone have that experience that I did, seeing it on the big screen. And it's just what makes it incredible. Now, this whole film was still a great time, man. I loved it, and I'm shocked that they were able to pull it off. I'm going to give It Chapter 2 an 8 out of 10. This was a great movie. You're going to love it. It's not better than the first one. Definitely the first one just gets a lot more better, and especially that middle act is what brings this film down a lot. But the incredible cast, and the incredible, a lot of this beautiful cinematography, and the incredible transitions, and just the fun that they have with this movie, and the way it's directed is just... It's just a great experience. There's nothing, I can go on details forever, but from the music to the editing to the cinematography and to the cast, even for the moments that it fails, most of the time you are hooked the whole way and you're just in love with it. And these characters just... Man, I really hope this cast gets other parts. I know fucking Finn Wolfhard is going to 1 billion things, and I can't wait to see him in more because I'm impressed. Well, guys, this is my review for Chapter 2. This was a lot of fun to talk about. I hope I didn't spoil too much about the movie. I'm really worried about that because I know it's only been like, a few days already since the film was released. So that's why I'm trying to be as careful as possible. So if I sound like I'm rambling a bit, it's because I'm trying to go around not spoiling anything. Anyway, thank you all for watching. It was always a lot of fun to do. What did you guys think about it, Chapter 2? I'm honestly curious. I want to hear what you guys think. Any possible theories? Because I'm not talking about those yet because I can't talk about it. Have a good night, guys. See ya.